Wait, when's the Leafs' next game?
February 22nd.
Oh, so I gotta be mad about this for 2 weeks?
You don't have to be mad about anything.
Steven.
That's fair. Valid, yeah.
Let's go!
Do you have a humiliation kit? This is all I ask you to do.
I'm having a great...
Finger flick.
You're allowed to show up.
This team is ruining my life. I'm taking crazy pills.
With you, wherever you are, welcome to LFR.
Leafs lose 2-1 to the Vancouver Canucks. But hey, the Leafs scored more goals than last time. They allowed fewer goals than last time, which goes to show how bad last time was, and I'm still mad about it. That's the problem with losing to teams in the Western Conference. Now you gotta wait a year to make up for it.
But at the end of the day, the Leafs end their 4-game Western road trip with a record of 3-1. In this video, we're gonna talk about the one. But first, could I eat a little better in 2025? Definitely. So to help with my New Year's resolution of looking and feeling better, I'm using AG1. You've probably already heard Jesse talk about it on the podcast. Well, now you're hearing it from me. AG1 is your daily drinkable scoop of vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and whole food source ingredients, and helps your whole body, brain, and gut health thrive. For me, AG1 kicks off my whole morning routine. And it couldn't be easier. Scoop, water, shake, drink. Scoop, water, shake, drink. AG1 gives me a nice energy boost without the caffeine crash you get from coffee. All those great ingredients help with stress too, which is good, you know, because I scream about hockey a lot. Plus, AG1 gives you the vitamins, minerals, and I gotta read this one, phytonutrients. That's a tough one. Phytonutrients you get from whole foods that help you cover the nutritional gaps in your diet. So, want in on this? I got you. Go to drinkag1.com/Steve Dangle or scan the QR code on the screen and save $20 off your first subscription of AG1. That's drinkag1.com/Steve Dangle. Hit subscribe and save $20 off your first order. Not bad, right? Thanks to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. Good, great job by me there. That was good. Okay, look. Heading into this game, the Leafs had won 3 straight. All on the road, and they had a little bit of everything. There was a game against the Oilers that they maybe shouldn't have won, but they went up 3-0 and they held on. Then there was Calgary. They kind of mopped Calgary. They did pretty good there. And then there was the game against Seattle. I don't know if they dominated, but like they were better. They were the better team and they won. Hooray. So what are the cons heading into this game? All right, it's the 4th game of a 4-game road trip. A lot of travel. Dude, you're taking on the Vancouver Canucks without Quinn Hughes. Like, forget all the upheaval they've had recently with all the trades. Honestly, the upheaval was probably a welcome change for that locker room. It is definitely a welcome. They've been awesome since the trades multiple. They've been unhinged. But like, all due respect to the guy, they replaced Quinn Hughes on the top pair with Derek Forbort. I'm not hating on Derek Forbort. He's played hundreds of games in the NHL. I think the biggest flaw in his game, however, is that he's not Quinn Hughes! And halfway through the first period, Thatcher Demko, the Canucks starting goalie in this game, comes out. Kevin Lankinen goes in, and Kevin Lankinen is very good, but he is coming in relief. He's basically been the Canucks starter this season, and coming in relief might be harder for him if he hadn't been a career backup heading into the season. But with all the recent upheaval on the roster, the upheaval in net tonight, and not having Quinn Hughes, boy, you really like to see the Leafs come out of this game with at least a point, for crying out loud. First few minutes, they looked all right. They were out shooting the Canucks 4-0 at one point. The Canucks were getting their opportunities in the offensive zone, but the Leafs are breaking up passes, and they're hitting, they're blocking. Man, oh man, I don't know if it was 4 or 5 minutes into the first, but after they got those first few shots, the Canucks outshot the Leafs 11-2. And the Canucks finally get on the board, ironically, assisted by Derek Forbort. Shut your mouth, Steven. He gets it to Elias Pettersson, not to be confused with Elias Pettersson or Marcus Pettersson. This game had 3 Petterssons and 2 Myers. I was in hell. Try streaming that for 3 hours. But Elias Pettersson, who has not been awesome since the JT Miller trade, finds Filip Hronek with an awesome feed. The Leafs are an absolute mess here. They don't pick up on Hronek at all. They don't do anything. It was a bad, very not good first period. And that play, that goal from Filip Hronek, filling in when the Canucks needed him most, was it was that. Sometimes you gotta find the right word, but sometimes the right word is just that. The Canucks kicked the Leafs up and down the ice for most of the opening 20 minutes of this game. And it was a miracle, actually, a little bit, that the Canucks were only up 1-0 after 1. Second period, I'm not just saying this because the Leafs scored, much better. They had to get some saves from Joseph Woll. Sure, they had to come up big a few times. Sure. The Canucks still had excellent defensive sticks. Holy cow, were they so annoying defensively in this game. Sure. Geez, if you want to shut the Leafs down, you don't gotta pre-scout all these games that they've done, isolate all these clips. Watch exactly 2 games between the Leafs and Canucks this season. It's been brutal. Canucks have the Leafs locked up, and they hustled, and they outworked this team. Connor Garland was a nightmare out there. But despite all of that, the Leafs were working a little bit harder in the second period than they were. They were executing a little bit better than they were. I was still deeply, bitterly hating what they were doing with their top 6. Listen, the top 6, the new configuration, did really well against Seattle. Most of it. Domi and Matthews with Nyes was a pretty magical line against Seattle. Marner did very well against Seattle. Tavares did very well against Seattle. Nylander was somehow one of the worst players on the team. In this game, the first line was the only one that got scored on in the first period. And it didn't take long in this game to be like, oh, Nylander on the left doesn't work. Nylander is one of the best players in the league this season. He's one of the best goal scorers in the league this season. What position has he played in every game? We thought the answer might be center. We found out very early on that's not friggin' happening. It's right wing! Don't play him on left wing anymore. He's not good at it. Or it's not what you pay him $11.5 million for. Sure enough, very end of the second period, Craig Berube finally goes, all right, you know what? We're breaking it up. And it works immediately. Chance after chance after chance. The Canucks are hemmed in. They got him. And finally, OEL finds Morgan Riley, who puts it in. His 6th of the season for the local kid. We stole him. And, 4.9 seconds to go in the second. It took the Leafs nearly 100 minutes in this season series to get a goal against the Canucks, mostly Kevin Lankinen. So, all right, you get the first period. Was the first period good? No, that was bad. Again, you're down 1-0. How many, it feels like I've said this too often this year. Oh yeah, you know, they had a bad first period, but at least they're only down 1-0. I say that a lot, don't I? It feels familiar, and I don't like it. Second period, though, they do really well. Big Selly, they're happy, they're fired up heading into the third. Third period, they're actually doing okay. Because they moved off of that top 6 that just doesn't work. Forget Nylander on the left wing. Maybe focused on that a little bit too much. Austin Matthews is playing with a guy with 3 goals. He's more of a playmaker, Steve. Max Domi is scoring at a 34.8 point pace this season. I'll round it up to 35. Dude makes 3.75 multi-year. No. You can't be there. No. I wanted to see it. I thought it's what was best for the team, but really it was just what was best for him. But anyway, third period, the Leafs and Canucks are exchanging blows. It is a low-scoring game, low-shot game, but I wouldn't call it low event. Dudes are falling all over the place, banging, crashing. Leafs had some big hits. Canucks had some big hits. It's a great hockey game. And then, he wasn't even having a bad game up to this point, but it's what cost the Leafs the game. The Leafs have the puck coming out of their own zone. It's the top line with it. The dudes who bring home all the bacon, the dudes who pay all the money, the best player maybe in franchise history has the puck in Austin Matthews. Oliver Ekman-Larsson takes a high stick for an engagement that he has with Kiefer Sherwood like 30 feet behind the play. I might not harp on it this much. I might call it a one-time thing, a spilt milk, whatever. If OEL hadn't been taking so many penalties this season, dude. And wouldn't you know it, Brock Besser left wide open in front of the net on the power play, scores. The dumber the penalty, the harder it's gonna bite you. And now the Leafs have about half a period to tie this thing. Dude. Little more than 3 minutes to go. A gift from heaven above. The Canucks don't have Quinn Hughes. Dude is probably going to win the Norris this year, might win the Hart, or at least he was on pace to before all the injuries. And then Marcus Pettersson, who the Canucks acquired to be Marcus Pettersson, takes a slashing call for slashing Mitch Marner on a penalty that is definitely a penalty, but will never ever be called once during the Stanley Cup playoffs. He needs to be on the ice for the Canucks to end this game. I want to see Marcus Pettersson and Tyler Myers, who were a pair tonight, stand side by side, arms outstretched with their sticks, and see up how much of the ice they take up. One is 6'7" or 6'8", depends on which website you ask, and Marcus Pettersson is 6'5". They would be all-time octopus world champions. If you don't know that game, then you don't know it. If you do, you know I'm so right! They are gold medalists in octopus! I hated the way that they managed Joseph Woll on this one. It was so bad it felt like a distraction. Because the Canucks win the face-off to start and they throw it down the ice. Dude, I don't care. 6-on-4. You're losing. 6-on-4. It's a gift. They waited forever to get Joseph Woll out of there. It was less than 2 minutes left when they finally got him out. Despite all that, the Leafs still have an opportunity. They might be able to do it. Austin Matthews, wide open net! Kevin Lankinen robs Austin Matthews harder than any goalie has robbed the Leafs this season. That's the best save, right? It's gotta be. Has to be. What's better? Under 2 minutes to go in a 1-goal game in the third period. What's better? Austin Matthews. How? I think Carson Soucy might have got a piece of it, which actually kind of makes it more insane because it was a Matthews shot that was deflected up and it still went straight into Lankinen's glove. If you don't score on that one, you're not scoring on any of them. The Leafs fall 2-1 in Vancouver. Still a really good result for the 4-game road trip, but that was a winnable game that they didn't. Questions. What's the reasoning for running the top line out there for the last 4 minutes? Because they're the only living, breathing human beings in the organization who can score. That's it. Dude, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, Nyes, McMahon was the extra attacker. So that's the first power play unit, which is 5 forwards, joined by another forward. They had 6 forwards out there, and they were out there for a very long time. And the reason they are out there is they're the only guys who score. Counter argument, you know who I would have liked to see out there? The only Leaf who scored in this game. Morgan Riley's been great on this road trip. We've been harping on him all season, and he's finally playing well. He scores a goal for you, and you don't put him in? I'm not going to harp on that too much. The problem is the question you're asking, unfortunately, has a very simple answer. Those are the only dudes who can score. The 6 guys the Leafs had on the ice at the end of this game have 128 goals this season. Every single other player who has played for the Leafs this season combined has 41. Nick Robertson has 8. Morgan Riley has 6. The next highest scoring forward is Steven Lorentz with 5, and Max Pacioretty also has 5. Nylander is 33, Marner has 16, after Marner, punk down to Robertson, who has 8. That's half. If you took every single Toronto Maple Leaf who wasn't on the ice at the end of this game, combined their goal totals, and tripled them, they would still have fewer goals than the 6 guys who ended the game. Dude, whatever the Leafs are thinking at third line center or whatever, that trade can't come soon enough. Because whatever it is, I think is going to really tie the room together. Here's an example. On the podcast recently, while everyone is talking about Braden Shen and Ryan O'Reilly and Brock Nelson and all those names that are exciting, Dylan Cousins, I mentioned Luke Cunnin. Yeah, San Jose Shark, Luke Cunnin. Oh, that's boring. He has 11 goals. The fourth line tonight has 13. Dude, Pontus Holmberg he seems lovely. He's defensively responsible. He sort of had a decent chance to score one-handed, as he always is in this game. Dude, he isn't scoring. We're knocking down all the pegs, right? We're knocking down all the dominoes. Can Domi play third line center? No, they stopped doing it. Great. What about Fraser Minton? They've tried it. He was okay. Let's let him play in the minors a little bit more. Or trade him, but I hope not. Pontus? Well, the only stone left unturned on this roster is like, all right, if Calle Yarncrow comes back from injury, you could try him at center. He played it a bunch in his NHL career. He's barely played center with the Leafs at all. Probably less than half a dozen games. Dude, can we just get somebody to be done with it already? The trade deadline is closer than you think. It is almost exactly a month away today. but the Leafs don't play another game until February 22nd. You know how many games the Leafs have between now and the trade deadline? 7. They have a maximum of 7 games to figure out what they have with this group before the deadline to make a decision on a move. It's coming. This is very niche. How's learning Czech going for you? I've been at it for about 7 months and watched tonight's game on the Czech stream. First of all, that is impressive as hell. I didn't know they even had that. Second of all, for those of you who are confused by that, I was learning Czech on Duolingo, and I talked about it on social media. I might have talked about it on this channel. I'm not sure. I gave up because I thought to myself, like, one day I'll use it in interviews. And I made peace with the fact that no, I'm not. So I gave up, and now I'm learning French. So my Duolingo streak between Czech and French is still over 200 days now. French is one of the national languages of Canada, and also I have 2 kids who are going to learn French in school and therefore bring home French homework, so I thought it would be good to brush up on that. How come the Canucks are such awesome winners and the Leafs are such big losers? I don't know, man, but I gotta tip my hat to the Canucks. It really was a banner night for a bannerless franchise. Can't be too soon when it's evergreen. Anyway, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. We are going to be streaming every game at the Four Nation Face-Off on the SDPN YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing all the Canada games and the gold medal game, which is hopefully just a Canada game. That is going to be on the SDPN YouTube channel. Please check it out. And also, I'm going to be doing LFRs. LFRs, there you go, for all the Canada games right here on this channel.